In this video, we need to diagnose why my Saab 9.3's AC does not blow air at all. And I'll give you a hint, it's a very common fault that you're going to want to pay attention to because it's actually resulted in some of these cars catching on fire if you don't fix it. More about that later, but let's get into the video. Here you go, I got the air on full blast. I have it coming out of the face vents. The vent is open and there is just no air coming out of any of these vents. Same thing, I go down to the feet. No air coming out whatsoever. First thing you want to check are your fuses. Fuse 23 is a 40 amp fuse. You can see it's the big one right here. So let's pull that out and see if the fuse is good. So that is our fuse panel right inside here. Can pop that off. It's quite a large fuse, but yeah, it looks like our fuse is good. So that means our problem is elsewhere. So if your fuse was blown here, that doesn't necessarily mean that the fuse was the problem. Obviously start by replacing your fuse and see if that fixes your problem long term. But if the fuse blows again, then your problem is likely elsewhere. To get access to our cabin fan, we need to remove the glove box. I want to first start by removing the two T25s that are down here underneath it. Drop our glove box down. There are two more T25s right there, and then there is a fifth one back there. Before I do that, I want to pop off our cover back here and disconnect the two wires. I forgot to remove our end piece right here, and that'll drop down our glove box. Now if you have automatic climate control like me, there's also a, probably rotate it to get in the camera a little better, there's a hose right here for the glove box cooling. You'll want to pop that off too. Typically what the likely culprit is in situations like this is a bad blower motor or blower motor resistor. Sometimes these cars can even catch fire if this issue gets bad enough. So what we're looking at here, this big behemoth right here is our blower motor, and our resistor is down here at the bottom. So right here is our connector. So typically what you'll see is these can get burned, whether it could be for a multitude of reasons. Water can leak down into here because of bad seals around the cabin air filter and the whole housing in here. That might also cause this connector to burn. So what I want to do next is pop off this connector. Now you should have two little clips that we need to undo, one on each side. However, one of mine has broken off, so I just need to do the one on the bottom. I apologize if that's a little difficult to film. But what I'm seeing initially is a little bit of, you can see it's starting to burn right here. I don't know if that's enough to cause it to just not work. And if I look back in here, put a video on the screen, this back in here does not look to be too burned either on the male part of this connector. So I guess what we can do next is put some power to this and see if it turns on. I have two test wires, and I'll be plugging one into the ground and one into the power. So you guys can see what I'm doing, but I absolutely cannot. Just on a frame, I have my jump pack. And so, make sure I hook these up correctly. Our ground to the ground, power to power. Let's see. Yep, nothing is happening. Before we get back to this repair, this video is sponsored by BNLink. BNLink offers a wide range of outlet extenders, adapters, remote control sockets, and more. For this promo, I'm going to be trying out the remote control sockets. These come in different size ranges and remote counts, but this particular option came with 5 sockets and 2 remotes for only $25. These come pre-programmed and are quite literally plug and play. So far, there's a few benefits I've found of these. First off, saving energy by disconnecting electronics when not in use. Additionally, turning on or off electronics with the push of a button on the remote is super easy. Given that it's Christmas time, I found this tremendously useful for my Christmas tree. I no longer need to plug/unplug it every night, but I can simply click the button on the remote to turn it on and off. These remote control plugs are also beneficial for those who might not have great mobility, are elderly, pregnant, or something else. Again, they have a wide variety of different configurations on their website and different options, but I will link the specific outlet and remote set down below at the top of the description. Again, thank you to BNLink for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to fixing my blower motor. Spoke to a few well-informed new Generation 9.3 owners, and this kind of just confirmed what I thought. We're pretty sure this blower motor resistor is the fault. Now, before I do that, there is one thing I wanted to mention. I grabbed this motor at a junkyard. If you don't have access to a junkyard though, my friend did link kind of a resistor repair kit that you can get. I think I accidentally called this a blower motor. This is just the resistor that goes on the bottom of the blower motor, as you'll see in a minute. Very easy to access and replace. But there is a repair kit for these on eBay. I'll link in the description in case you're curious. But one thing you should also be checking, and what can really cause these to go bad as well as the fans to kind of seize up or make noise, is your cabin air filter area. So if you look down in here, there's a seal that goes between the cabin air filter and I guess the firewall of the car. So you can feel that seal up in here. Mine feels pretty good. I'm not worried about it. I don't see any signs of any water getting in there. One thing I also did is I stuck my hand in here and I confirmed my fan is spinning freely. It's not making any noise. It's not seized up for some reason. So that's just more inclination that our resistor is bad. And again, this is a common issue. So what I did is I bought the resistor. I also bought the pigtail for it just to be safe. My buddy said they didn't think this looked especially bad on my car, so I think instead of kind of hack job splicing this together, I'm just going to rock with the old connector for now, and we can check it in the future. But in order to remove this resistor, it's actually very straightforward. This black cover underneath the blower motor needs to be removed. In order to remove that, we need to remove this side kick panel here. In order to remove the side kick panel, we need to remove this T25 right here. With that bolt out, this kind of just slides down and out pretty easily. This now gives us access to our 2 bolts for this piece. So one is right here, and then the second one is underneath right in the center of the screen there. These are also both T25s. Actually, it looks like this one is a T20. There's also 2 plugs for the little light, the footwell light. But that just kind of unclips from this crossbar here and pops out pretty easily. Now we have good access to our resistor. There are 2 T20s that hold the resistor in. One is actually apparently missing on my car. It should be right there. And then there's a back one right there. With that out, I'm just gonna pull down on this and it just slides right out. Super easy. I'm not seeing any obvious burning marks or wear anywhere on this thing. One thing to note is that the aftermarket ones of these are notoriously awful. So this is the OEM part number from Vallejo, or I guess the OEM or the Vallejo part number. There's a 2-prong plug that's going to plug into this hole right at the front. Screw it in. Thankfully, I always grab the bolts from the junkyard, so That came in clutch in this case since one of my bolts was missing. Now, before I do any more assembly, let's confirm this actually works. All right, here we go, moment of truth. Oh yeah! Air! Going out every single direction, it's working exactly as it should. Oh, that is awesome. All right, let's get the rest of this back together. Let's install this little kick panel so we have the T25 right there, T25 here, and our 2 plugs for the light bulb. Now for my kick panel piece, there's some little tabs that help it kind of slide into place properly. So you'll want to be aware of those as you're installing this. Last but certainly not least is our glove box. Couple of reminders here. Don't forget your little plug for the glove box cooling if you have ACC, and then also our 2 little wires for the light bulb. There you have it. That is how you replace the resistor on your blower motor. Again, a very common fault on this, so even if yours is working fine, I'd recommend checking it. Very simple, as you saw, you just got to pull out the glove box, that kick panel, and that little plastic piece underneath, and you can pretty easily inspect those wires and that harness. Highly recommend it because this has surprisingly resulted in some cars catching fire, smoking, etc. So check the condition of your blower motor, check the condition of this resistor. If you do need a new resistor, make sure to buy OEM only. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing and checking out my Patreon if you haven't already. And I'll see you in the next one.